I decided to go in a day early, Patty, and I went to the full day hormone session, and I had no idea what I was walking into, but it was essentially a primer on the estrogen pathway in the female body and the male body, going down to every metabolite. I was just starstruck by these speakers who knew it like the back
Yeah,
of their hand.
right.
And these were not MDs. These were, I think one of them was a naturopath. Another one was a nurse practitioner, but they had obviously studied so hard and learned every single pathway. I literally was just like, I feel like I'm in med school again. And I'm not even sure I learned all that in med school, quite frankly.
We probably didn't. But, there was a lot of discussion on female health and female longevity. That was a big theme. There was one of the first sessions we attended on Friday was a female longevity blueprint, and it was titled Balancing Hormones, Mitochondria, and Metabolism. I thought it was a really good talk. It started with some sort of staggering statistics on female health. Like 1 in 3 women dies of a myocardial infarction or a stroke, and 1 woman every 3.5 seconds dies from cardiovascular disease. And then they talked about just the decline in ovarian function and how that is related to systemic aging. So again, the stuff that you learned in your session playing out in this whole female longevity play, it was so interesting. They talked about perimenopause being the most symptomatic time of life in women. And I think every one of us who's been through it or is currently going through it will corroborate that. And just that, it causes the loss of hormones, causes acceleration of cardiovascular degeneration, bone degeneration, cognitive decline, and of course, metabolic aging. They also talked some interesting things about cortisol and how it affects the female brain. And we all know that women have a tremendous amount of stress because it's that work-life balance and dealing with the kids and all the activities and your career. And they talked about that it was associated with smaller brain volume, lower glucose metabolism, and higher beta amyloid. That it's high cortisol in the female brain. Super interesting to me. That she made a point, and this talk was given by Sarah Saul, who is an MD. She's written a bunch of books, bestsellers. Talked about HRT and that it really should be started within the first to 7 years to prevent a lot of what's happening here. She gave an assessment of a blueprint for women, how you might evaluate the patients. It was complicated, so I won't go into details, but I thought this was a really good talk, and it sort of set the tone that there was a lot of female-centric content in this meeting.
Yeah, and in my session, the hormone session, we did have content on men and testosterone in general, and there was a lot of time spent discounting the myths regarding the harmful effects of testosterone. There's been a lot of talk about whether there's cardiovascular risks, for example, and also just because of the aromatase enzyme conversion of testosterone to estrogen and leading to a higher estrogenic state for men, which can be harmful as well. And so there was a lot of time spent on that. And I think they discounted that using the latest data pretty well. I'd like to do my own research, of course, but for now, it seems like, all these gym bros who are on testosterone, as they kept saying, not my words, theirs, that they said they actually may have it right. And we just have to really consider the levels of testosterone that our patients are on. And what we consider normal versus not normal. I think that kind of pervaded the entire conference. So Patty, this idea of normal lab values that we get from labs and how those actually may not be truly normal for our patients. And we have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Well, and it's always a snapshot in time was also sort of what I took home on that.